Jessica, what are the AXP requirements? What's the best way to keep track of those hours?
All right, so I'm going to lead us to NCARB again, only because they have some very great documentation that has recently come out called, Gabby, you can correct me, but I'm pretty sure it's the AXP guidelines. Is that?
Yeah.
Yes. It's a wonderful PDF that you can download from NCARB's website, keep it with you. I think it's good to keep it with you for both the purpose of logging your hours during experience and for starting to consider taking exams, because they have these this great list on a area basis called the 96 tasks, and they are divided amongst those 6 areas. And I almost kind of think of them as like questions. Did I do whatever, fill in the blank. Did I perform a building code analysis? Yes, I did. Then I can then log hours under project planning and design. And I think using that document in a way to understand what kind of experience you're documenting under that experience area is very important. So like I said, you can take a look at all of those 96 tasks listed under the 6 different experience areas. I think the best way to keep track of those hours is really on a person-by-person basis, but I always recommend that you sort of get familiar with the way that your office is recording billing. How do they expect you to document your time spent working on projects? Obviously, they're going to have, maybe they have it the same way that NCARB does on a quarter-hour basis. Maybe they don't, but it can definitely start as a guide for you to be then translating that into your NCARB logging. They also have an app, which is super great because you can do it on your phone, you can print out all of your documents, you can sit there and do it really fast. I believe the application is called My AXP.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. So it's really helpful that you can kind of do that on the fly now instead of having to sit down at a computer and, you still can, but it's really good to have the app as an option.
Hey guys, just when I did this, it was about 3 years of experience that you basically needed to get. It's about the same amount of hours at this point? Is that right?
So I believe NCARB's position is 3740 are the hours that you should be fulfilling within those 6 different experience areas.
Got it.
I think it used to be 5,600 universally, and that
Yikes.
Translated roughly into about 3 years. I think that this amount of experience is like roughly 2 years of experience.
Man, you guys are so lucky.
Yeah. Which is great.
There's a caveat to that. Just going to interject really quick that it is jurisdiction-based. And so some jurisdictions do require X amount of hours equaling 3 years of experience, or more hours, or just 3 years of experience. So while it is NCARB's recommendation to keep it to 3740, always check with the jurisdiction.
Yeah, and here's one thing I want to share with you guys. I didn't really realize this until, now we run an architecture learning business, so now I've learned all sorts of things. And one of the things I didn't really realize is, going back, and I don't actually know how far it goes back, it might be 30 or 40 years back. Actually, NCARB, at some point in time, right, NCARB didn't exist. Maybe it was 50 years ago, I'm not exactly sure. But the basic idea was that every single state, if you wanted to be licensed, let's say in Illinois or Massachusetts or wherever, you called up their board of regulation. They had their rules, they had their test, and you dealt specifically with that state. And so if you wanted to go to a different state, oh my God, it was a big deal, and it was really time consuming and troublesome for how you did that. Basically what NCARB did was they sort of, as a non-profit, they came together and said, hey, we're gonna create some sort of standard process, and we're gonna try to get buy-in from every single state for this process. And for the most part, they were able to create a standard process. That's why we have the ARE, Every state, I'm pretty sure, accepts the ARE and or requires it. But for example, for those of you who are from California, you'll know that you have this supplementary exam, which gets into issues around earthquakes and seismic, right? And so that's one of those instances where here's a state who said, okay, yeah, we'll adopt NCARB's rules and regulations, but we're going to do something a little bit different. So that's kind of the history, and that's actually why you need to go to your licensing advisor, because everyone's a little bit different. And as Gabriella is saying, most, as NCARB is making changes even up to today, they're still trying to get buy-in from all the different states, and for the most part, they're getting that. There might be a one or two here and there that might not agree anymore. So that's why you want to keep an eye out. Anything to add to that, you guys, or how did I do? Did I pass?
You passed. Yeah, no, I think that was definitely really good to mention, that NCARB is going to have a position on all of the requirements that are listed on their website. It's really a starting point for you to understand what kind of requirements you're facing, but ultimately you need to understand what your state requires. You can be concerned about other states when you want reciprocity, but let's get that first license.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's actually one of the cool things that NCARB does. They have this thing called NCARB certification. So basically, once you get licensed and you're all done and you're like, yay, I'm licensed in Illinois or wherever, you can apply for certification, and it will basically automatically allow you to get a license. Maybe not exactly automatically, but for the most part, very easily and quickly allow you to get a license in another state that accepts certification, and I'm pretty sure that they all do. So that's a handy little thing that they offer as well.